Hey everyone, this is PackRat99 from both Reddit Horse Racing and Horse Racing Discord. Myself and a number of the other admins on Horse Racing Discord have decided that we were getting a lot of people coming in asking questions. Things like, how do you handicap a card? How do you look at races and come up with opinions? What are we looking for? Pass a little knowledge along. So this video will be on what my process is for handicapping a race and sort of the things I'm looking for. So first off, what you're seeing here is a past performance. This is a list of all the horses that are in the race today, this race, and it shows all of their previous races. This is DRF's Formulator product, which anything you see on here that's blue can be clicked. So I can look at, if I'm interested in the trainer of the number one, Wesley Ward, I can click and I can see what his statistics are on the meet, on the year, in this type of race, and I can do a lot of deep dive. The real highlight of Formulator is what are referred to as Beyer's speed figures. And those are the dark black numbers you see right here in the middle. Beyer's speed figures were come up with by Andy Beyer. It's a way of comparing how fast a horse ran at one track on one surface to a horse that ran at a different track on a different surface. The number is supposed to be relativistic based on that horse's performance compared to other horses at that track. So they come up with a par, and there's an offset figure, and it's a good indicator of how good one horse is coming from one track, shipping to another track, or horses coming out of different races. How do you compare them? Surfaces are always different day to day, and surfaces can change hour by hour, race by race. It gives you a good indicator of, it's not perfect, but for me, it's the best system to determine how well horses from one track or one race compare to other tracks and other races. So my process, I tend to be a horizontal player for the most part. I do make some win bets, but predominantly I chase a lot of pick fives. It's really my favorite wager to chase. That's the winner of 5 consecutive races. There's a large chance of an outsized payout, and to me, there's a huge handicapping challenge that I really enjoy. Saratoga is my local track. I grew up in the area, so it's a track that I very much enjoy playing. I feel like I have a pretty good edge there compared to some other tracks. And it's one that I really enjoy, and I play almost every pick 5 sequence for the entire meet there every year. So I'm also what's referred to as an ABC handicapper, and that means that I don't just come up with a list of horses I like, I leverage those opinions. I'm looking for horses that are my A horses, which I will use the most on tickets, my B horses, which I'll use less on tickets, and C horses, which I'll use even less on tickets. By breaking my horses into categories, it allows me to effectively leverage my opinions. It's much better than trying to say, geez, I like these 6 horses, but one of them's 20 to 1, and one's 9 to 5. You're not going to get good value doing that. You're going to very often find that the favorite wins, and you went 6 deep when you could have gone 1 deep. You didn't do a very good job of leveraging your opinions. Those are called caveman tickets, and we try to avoid them. They're a way that you can lose a lot of money very quickly. You can be right but still wrong in a wagering structure. So the first thing I always like to do is I like to pay a lot of attention to the conditions of the race. So this is, first off, a 7 furlong race on the dirt at Saratoga. And you can see that in the upper right corner here. The next thing I would pay attention to is this is a claiming 40 non-winners of 2 lifetime. That's what the N2L stands for. So what this, with a purse of $52,000, the purse is the next piece here. What the claiming 40,000 part means is that if you are interested in a horse in this race, you go to the racing steward before the race, you hand them a check for $40,000 in an envelope, and you say, I want to claim the one horse out of the 8th race. You want to say this horse stage left. At the end of the race, if no one else put a claim in on stage left, the owners, the previous owners, get your $40,000 check, and you walk that horse back to your barn. It's your horse now. Claiming races are the bread and butter of American horse racing. It's a vast percentage of all of the races run, and there's something that you're going to see a lot in, apologies about that, somebody walking in my office. So in a claiming race, this N2L portion, that portion means non-winners of 2 lifetime. What that means is that all the horses in this race have only ever won 1 race. These types of races tend to be places that you get a lot of prices. These are horses that have run a bunch. They don't love winning. And you're going to find some outsized gains in here, and you can normally find some sort of interesting places to either take a stand against a horse or places where a lot of value can come into play. So in looking at this race, the first thing I like to do is I like to look at this figure over here called a Beyer par. The Beyer par is right here, and that's an 85. And that means that the average horse in the claiming 14 N2L that wins runs roughly an 85. So I'm going to now really quickly just go down through this race and try to find other horses who've run close to an 85. And there's only going to be one on the list that's really running those types of figures. And this is this horse here, the number 7 Allured. This is a Chad Brown trained horse. Chad Brown wins the training title basically every year at Saratoga. He's done extremely, extremely well. He's one of the best turf trainers in the game. He's also very good on dirt, very dangerous here. He's an 18% trainer at Saratoga over the past year, 109 starts, 20 wins, 28 seconds, 24 thirds. His yearly stats, he's a 27% trainer. A lot of the reason his Saratoga stats are a little bit lower is that at Saratoga, he will very often run multiple horses in a race because there's only so many races, and he has a lot of owners that want to see their horse run at Saratoga. And therefore, it actually hurts his win stats that he runs multiple horses in a race. Chad, if you look at the speed figs on this horse, speed figs really jump off the sheet at you. Big numbers. These are 10 points or more better than every other horse in the race, and at this sort of a distance at 7 furlongs, it's probably equivalent to 4 or 5 lengths. So this horse should be 4 or 5 lengths faster than the rest of the field. But some interesting things here, and why this is the kind of horse that ABC structure works great for. He's obviously a single A. He's a horse that I wouldn't want to leave off tickets and try to beat and get cute with because it's Chad, and this horse has everything that you would expect to be here to win this type of race, but there's definitely some downsides. So first off, since his last start, he has been gelded. What that means is for a male horse, he's had the ultimate equipment change. He's been snipped. A lot of times with horses, this will help them be a little calmer in the mornings, train a little better, be a little bit less of a head case. And sometimes it also improves their action. Sometimes the boys were bothering them, and they were not able to run as smoothly as they would have otherwise. So this can really help improve and move up a horse very often. A couple of things though that make you scratch your head. The ownership group here paid $600,000 for this horse in the OBS March of 2017 sale. That's a lot of money. You can take and walk away with this horse for $40,000. It's not like he hasn't been competitive either. He's been running some decent figs. He's by no means a stakes horse, but he's a horse that you would think could bounce around in the allowance ranks and continue to make some money. So why are they dropping him for a tag here? Tag being for a claim. He's 1 for 9 in his career, so he doesn't like winning. Obviously, his only race was this maiden score back here. Now, Rad was up for the maiden score. He's up again today. And it was over a sloppy track at Aqueduct in November of 2018. So not that long ago. Again, makes you just kind of scratch your head at why are they dropping this horse. This horse is 95% going to be claimed out of this race from them. Couple things. Could be they're just trying to get rid of a horse. Could be they have a lot of horses in training. They know this will never be a superstar, and they're just saying, hey, we just want to let him go. He's whatever. He's just, it's not worth our time anymore. What I would think, though, is that if you look at this horse, so there's these lines here. Those are called layoff lines. There's another one right here. So this horse was in training from was racing August to November of 2017, and then took a 10-month layoff until the 1st of September of 2018. So something went wrong here. Something fairly massive went wrong. This horse was on the sidelines for quite a while. Look at the horse's last race. It was on the 21st of February, and we're in August. So there's another really long layoff. Now, Chad is really good on the long layoff, but something obviously went wrong again. When you see a horse that is coming out of this caliber, something goes wrong, and then you see not a scary class drop, but a drop down. This might be a horse that, this horse is probably going to go off at even money, or it might even be shorter than even money. And he's the kind of horse that makes some sense to try to get around. So I wish there were some better options to get around him in this race, but there's a couple in here that are sort of interesting. Now, one other thing to pay attention to when you're handicapping a race is on the Beyer figs, you have what's called a Timeform US pace fig. You can see how this horse is a 67 early pace and a 110 late. That means the horse is a closer. He wants to close into a pace, so he needs some pace set up to probably close into. If we compare him to, let's go here to passcode to his outside, passcode you'll see has a lot more. That early pace number is much higher, meaning passcode has much higher early speed figs. Passcode can more dictate the pace. So when I look at this race, what I'm seeing is you have one real standout, but he probably needs a bit of his pace setup. So horses that are interesting to me. Passcode being one of them. The horse was claimed by James Ferraro last out at Saratoga on the 14th of July. It's a normal break, not like a long layoff or anything. You see Jose Lascano was up the last time out, and Santana gets up now. With the trainer change, that may just be a normal thing. It may be a preference for Ferraro. I don't really know who his trainer preference is. But if you look at it, the horses had some figs that in here would be competitive. That 78 Beyer and that 77 Beyer. Both of them came at 6 furlongs, so I don't see any reason. It's an algorithms by the sires by algorithms. No reason that horse shouldn't be able to stretch out to 7. And if the Chad Brown horse, something went wrong, doesn't fire the kind of fig you would expect, it's a kind of horse that has early control on speed. Now, at Saratoga this year, speed has been good. You want him to be on the pace or just off the pace most days. And this horse can be probably sit just off the pace, whereas Allured is probably going to be quite a bit back. Now, let me start up at the top here and I'll walk through some horses. Stage left here, this is a Westward horse, Johnny Velasquez up. I don't think this fig's really fit. That last race, it runs back to that. There's no way. Now, the one thing that is a little interesting is the one race in this horse's career where Johnny Velasquez was up is the best race this horse has ever run. Ran a 79 Beyer, very forwardly placed, which is a good condition here. And it says, if you look at the notes over on the right side here, 3 to 4 wide in the upper and was caught late. That's something that, maybe a little more experience. Horse is almost a year older now. Probably a little bit of endurance has been built in there. So this horse is kind of an interesting play. This horse that Rosario is up on, I just don't think the fig's fit. Been running at this class level, not super competitive. Blinkers come off to try to get this horse to settle, so you'd expect less early pace. So it's not a horse I really want to use. Maca Tree, though, is one that I'm super interested at. You're getting a surface slit change here. Again, you're going from artificial in the first race to turf. Get rid of that note. And now you're going back to dirt, to Jersey Town. I don't see why the horse shouldn't handle dirt. It actually probably would be the preferred surface for him. Interesting things here, and I can never pronounce Anthony's last name. I think it's Cordarolo is how it's pronounced. He's not a high percentage trainer. He's only an 8% trainer, but when he uses Eric Cancel at Saratoga, he's, over the last year, hitting at 40% for $8.30 ROI. Now, that's only 5 winners. It's not a huge sample size, but it's something that kind of makes you go, that's interesting. Seems like Cancel is his preferred go-to rider. Horse also, I would ignore this turf try. I don't think that turf try was the surface this horse wants to be on at all. The surface to me that it wants to be on is probably dirt. And I think this would by an artificial, where he broke his maiden at a maiden 40, is probably more indicative of the speed. I would expect a little bit of a move off this 73. I expect this horse to bring, again, those upper 70 Beyer figs, which, if the Chad horse doesn't fire, is an interesting horse. So that horse for me is probably a B horse. Horse I'm going to use on quite a few tickets. This Albertrani horse, I don't really see a reason that he would move forward a lot. Probably needs a little softer than this. That 2-back climbing 40, yes, it was on the turf, but it feels like that was the time. Sayers keeps the faith here. Sayers is, I think, 3rd or 4th in the riding stats, so Sayers does make a lot of sense in this horse, but I just really don't see it. I would something else needs to change, and I don't see anything else that jumps off the page at me there and goes, ooh, that's interesting. Dublin Green here is just really an outlier. Pace is probably against him. Oh, and the other thing with this Violent Delights Albertrani horse, also a closer. The problem is if I want a closer, if this race has a lot of speed early, we get into a speed duel and it falls apart. I don't think that happens, but it could happen. That's the horse that you want a horse to pick up the pieces. I would want the Chad Brown horse over Violent Delights to pick up the pieces. I forgot to mention this here on Mocketry when I did the first pass. Another thing I really like is the fact that blinkers are going on here. And they're going on a speed horse. So this horse is going to be sent. This horse is going to be put on the lead. They're going to see if he can carry. And horses that were doing that have pulled off some kind of shockers. You're going to get a price here, and I think you're going to have even more early speed. And maybe if the track is still speed favoring, as it was this past weekend, might be an interesting start where somebody could steal. Now, that horse is a B horse at best for me. I can't put him on top. I think the Chad Brown Allured still has to be on top, but it's an interesting horse I might try to use to beat the favorite. Dublin Green, who I mentioned, Dylan Davis up. I just see nothing. The horse is just nowhere even close to this. I don't see anything changing. I don't see, when I say changing, I mean if the horse was a first-time gelding, if I saw a trainer change, if I saw a jockey change, if I saw something like Jose Ortiz got on this horse, I'd say, well, why? There's something just different. I don't see anything that makes me go, something's changed. I want to get involved with this horse. Rajiv is on Rafaela here. Another horse that maybe could be a C for me. I do see an improving Beyer pattern. That last race, you see the fig jump up. So when we talk about class, what you'll see here is that the 2-back race was a $40,000 allowance and ran a 66. Last was a claiming 40, and you see that number improve to a 71. So it makes you kind of scratch your head and you go, wait a second. He got a bunch better when the class got easier, which is normally what happens with figs. That 71 just isn't going to win this race, though. That's you would need a pretty marked improvement out of that horse to really win, to have a chance of winning this race. So kind of done the loop here, come back to these. I think to me, Allured is the most logical horse. I want a little bit of Passcode as a B, and I want a little bit of Mocketry as a B as well. But I think both of them have some upside potential at quite a price. And maybe I'll even use a little bit of Stage Left, that Westward horse on the rail. Chance that horse maybe steps forward, steps to that 3-back race. Could happen. I don't really see it. But stranger things have happened. And for me, that's it. Remind everybody, hop on Discord, chat with us. We can sit there and walk you through the race. If there's anything that I explained here didn't make a lot of sense, throw it in the comments below, and I can expand upon it. I'm sure sometimes I brush over things that most people would kind of go, wait a second, why didn't she break this out? So, but again, hop on Discord, chat with us, and yeah, good luck with the races.